Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today we're gonna have fun painting this cute little winter scene. Super easy, step by step. I go over this and just simple buildings and the technique that I use to paint this and then finish it off. If you're a Patreon member, you get the line drawing and the extended version with the reindeer. And if you want to join Patreon, just click the link in the description box to join, and all the information is there about my Patreon. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm using Arch paper, 100% cotton cold press. I just taped it down with Scotch Magic tape on a piece of cardboard. Patreon members get the line trace here. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box. And yeah, I just drew out these really cute little houses, and I masked in the windows because I wanted to have them bright with yellow, like the nighttime. And just threw in some trees, just to kind of figure out where I'm going to put my trees. So I do want to do wet on wet sky and a really kind of deep blue. So you can grab either ultramarine blue deep, I'll loosen this up, or Prussian blue, and of course Paynes gray. I'm going to grab some Paynes gray. Really want to get this ready to go. Blue, Paynes gray, bluish dark deep sky. So I'm mixing up those colors. Get a really good amount here. I'm going to make sure you have a lot. I'm using my 12 Aqua Elite from Princeton brush. I'm mixing some more Paynes gray in here. You can use Lunar black. All that good stuff. Okay. Once you've mixed up your paint, we're going to flip this upside down. And I'm just going to really quickly grab paint. I want to use a big brush now. I'm going to paint every area except the little houses. If you can go over the chimneys, it's fine. So make their life a lot easier. I still have some blue on my brush. So you see I'm going down like this. The snow, I don't mind if I'm going over the tree area. I guess I can go over the chimney in the tree area. I'm just going to go everywhere that's not the house. Clean up my brush again. So I get some nice, well, it should be clear, but you can see a little blue tinge, but that's no big deal because it's going to be blue anyway. And I'm filling in this all in. Remember, you have to have the blue paint ready to go. You don't have to get this super wet, but you have to get it wet enough that paint can move. All right, remember, whatever you don't want to paint up here, you have to leave it dry. Okay, and I'm going to grab my wonderful paint color here, and it's going to bleed. La la la. It's only going to go where the water is. You can kind of push the paint like this. Remember, only where the water is. Now it's like a nice decent blue. I want to get more color in there, so I might get thicker paint with more Paynes gray in some of the areas that are blue. That are right next to the house. Oops. And if you wanted to leave the chimney white, you can do that. Oh my goodness, I'm painting over everything. It happens. I'll lift the paint up. And I'm going to lift the little paint from the chimney here. Okay, so we're going to just keep bleeding some paint. We can kind of like make streaks like this. And I do want to grab the Paynes gray and ultramarine blue deep, a little bit thicker, darker in some areas. See him going in here? It's really going to highlight this section. And again, you can make it a little bit darker like this. If you want to use it for a silhouette for the trees, you can just kind of go down and kind of wiggle back and forth. So I'll show you flipping it. Look, we got some streaks up there. We can just take some clean water and just fill that in. Again, ultramarine blue deep. Like it's a nice blue color happening. Blue with a little black. Paynes gray. Can't go wrong. Wet on wet. Right? So using the Paynes gray. Oh, that turned a little green. I got some green over here. That's okay. For the tree, just make a line up. I'm making it a little bit thicker here. A little green color and wiggle back and forth for an evergreen tree. So it's got to be darker than the color we just put down. If you have to go Prussian blue, and I have green. I keep grabbing green. Paynes gray. I must have had a green there. Here's the Paynes gray. More of a silhouette kind of color. Again, pointy line going down and just kind of wiggle back and forth. It's very wet. And I'll do another one here. The thicker the paint, the less it will move. Just a teeny bit on the tip of my brush. And I'm wiggling back and forth. And it's getting like wider as I go down. Tip tip. Look how cute that is. I do a little one here. Silhouette of a tree. Can't go wrong, right? It's nighttime. There's the Paynes gray, ultramarine blue. Still very damp. You can make it darker up here. Like a nice sky. Get those two colors. And I'm going to tilt this and kind of get this part. You can kind of move the paint by moving this like this, tilting it. See what happens. You want to spray it, but be careful where you spray. Just go like that. I think that looks good. I'm going to move this down a little more. Have it bleed. I think I like what I'm seeing. If I want to fuss with it a little bit more, just be careful because then you'll end up with the cauliflower blooms if you fuss with it too much while it's wet. I kind of have reached that tree. That's okay. It's like a highlighter on that one, right? Deep dark winter sky. Voila! So please let this dry. Let it seep in the paper. Don't go crazy. Let it dry. Let it seep into the paper. Don't touch it. And if you blow dry it, it's going to fade it even more. So we don't want that. We want the nice deep dark color. So let's keep that. You know, you don't want to mess with it too much. And I don't want to stop anything else until that's dry because it can bleed into this color. We want to keep this kind of white, but we're going to add a little color shading down here. All right, once it's dry, we're going to mix up some grays. I use ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna, and depending on how much blue and brown you use, it could be a brown, blue, gray. And we'll just paint the roof. I'm using a number 8 round Velvet Touch series brush. And make this a little bit more brownish gray. And we're painting the roofs gray. Depends. You can just play with how brown or gray you want this. And maybe every roof is a little bit different. You don't want them all having the same color roofs. You could if you wanted to. A little gray color. And while it's damp, you can kind of bleed in a little deeper on the edges. So the same 2 colors, ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna. Gonna make this a little bit darker. Kind of tap the edges. Only the edges, not the whole entire thing. Just has a cool look. And go in here. Again, the roof could be a little bit darker gray than you had before. Just fill them all in. Make sure you can see my hand. I'm not using that much paint here. Just filling that in. So in hindsight, we could have like masked out the chimneys, or we could paint in a silhouette of the chimneys. Again, it's basically up to you, the painter. See, I'm just doing the roof. And I want the body of the house to have like a blue tone. So you can keep those same two colors, have more blue in it. We'll just take ultramarine blue deep, just kind of water it down. And you have to wait till, well, there's a roof over here. You have to wait till the roof dries before you can start painting the other stuff. There's a little teeny roof here. So we'll wait till that dries. We'll come back for that. Meanwhile, while that's drying on the roof, we can work on the lovely snow area. And I'm just going to take the same two colors, ultramarine blue deep, really pretty blue, a little of the burnt sienna, just a teeny bit. And we're going to play with watering some of the snow in here. So take this brush, this is number 12 aqua, kind of grab a little paint here. Just a little bit goes a long way. That's kind of it. See how I just did that side? I'll clean up my brush, just grab some water and kind of bleed. I'm tilting this, kind of bleed some of the color down here. Keeping it mostly white, but just bleeding some color, playing with that. And a little dry brush in the bottom. You don't really have to paint this area because the contrast with that dark sky. I'm going to lift some of this coat, but you definitely need to paint some of it. I'm going to use paper towel to remove some of this paint. Where the houses are, so you can differentiate where the snow starts. If that makes any sense. Can make this a little bit deeper with the blue. Have some fun with it. It's very going to be like blue on blue and gray. Ooh! Sometimes that happens. Picked up too much pigment. Never fail. Do a little dry brush, kind of coming down here and over here. And again, if you feel like you got too much color, you got to play with lifting it up. But I don't normally recommend paper towel, but in this case, I'll just do a little bit of that. So we have our snow. Sweet little snow. You don't want to have to do too much of that color. The roof can be dry. We can start to grab color to do the houses. No, you can make them brown, but I'm saying trying to keep in the blue family. So going back and I'm adding my ultramarine blue deep to this burnt sienna. We could play with putting in blue. You want the houses to be a little bit different color blues from each other. And don't make it one note. See how this is just a flat color? Grab a little bit more paint, the blue and the burnt sienna, a little thicker. See how I'm mixing the two. A little bit more blue. Tapping my paper towel, and I'm going to kind of hit the edge where I painted before. And that should bleed into the center. A little bit thicker. Like that. Kind of manipulate it, go like that a little bit. Like I said, we want to just keep them in blues. There can be different blues. So you can use Prussian blue. It's kind of a neon-y blue. I'll mix that with the little Paynes gray. So it's a different blue. And I'll start over here. So now we have a different blue tone. Blue upon blue. You want to use that same color over here. Get some use out of it. And again, make some thicker paint. The two colors, Paynes gray. And you can just tap the edge of that under the roof line on the side. Just makes it pop out a little bit more. A little slightly three-dimensional. Really kind of cute. Do the back one here. In the blues. We're on all blues. There's a method to the madness. And again, mixing the two colors thicker and just kind of tap in. A little bit of the dark color here. Voila. And then I'll use that same color up front. It's different than the blue I just did. So it looks like with some variety. You can keep white if you want to, but it doesn't make sense for what we're doing. Or you can make them brown. You don't have to make them blue, but I'm making them all blue. You can make them just gray. So I'll grab the Paynes gray, kind of water that down. Whoops. Go right over the door. I can make that a different color. Just fill that in. And while it's damp, like I talked about before, we'll grab Paynes gray right out of the tube. Just a teeny bit of water. And we'll kind of bleed that color. Ooh, that's a little dark. I'll have to water down just a little bit more. It has a nice look to it, right? Cute little houses. Like I said, if it's too dark, you can kind of lift the color a little bit. It will dry lighter, by the way. Maybe mine got a little too dark. And if you want to keep the white house, keep the white house. But the whole point is not to. It's to have like this blue on blue. And I'm going to grab the ultramarine blue deep and water that down. Nice blue color house. Cute, isn't it? Just fill that in. Voila. Fill this color in the back. So now we have obviously have to wait till this dries. I'm going to go back and grab this blue, ultramarine blue deep, and fill this blue color in. It's pretty. I think my other color was too dull. And mix those two for that gray again. I like this roof color, a little brownish. You can make the roofs darker. My roofs will look a little bit lighter now that they've dried. So mixing those two colors. Maybe make it a little bit darker if you want to. Again, preference, and I'll add a little chimney. I'll keep that one a little bit lighter. You can kind of mix this one up a little bit darker. All right, we're going to wait till this dries and then come back. Once it's dry, I'll grab a rubber cement pickup and I'll remove the color on the windows. I mean the color, the masking fluid. And my brush made them kind of gloopy, gloppy. You can maybe make yours a little bit tighter than mine. Look how cute that is. Grab your brush. I'm just grabbing my number 10 round. Bright yellow. This is cadmium yellow deep. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber to this. Just makes it a little more golden. Dulls it down just a tad. Tap it on paper towel. And we're going to fill in those windows with the yellow color. So now it's, you know, it's nighttime. It's lit up. I'll just have to do details of like fixing the outside area where it's kind of lost its way. Gloppy. Fill it in. Which is kind of cute. Simple. Brown door on this one, or even a blue door. I'll add some ultramarine blue deep. Really kind of cute. You can kind of fix your, here's the gray, your little house. I'm going to fix my little, water this down and try and get that color here. We'll add the details of the windows and it won't be a bother. So we're going to do these really cool trees. I recommend using gouache over white watercolor only because it's more opaque. I'll use this 4 round, which I really, and a 4 liner brush. Get a little bit of water, so you want to be able to move the gouache, but not make it so translucent. More opaque better. So here I'm just moving this. And remember that tree we drew? So now we're going to put that in white. Cute, right? It's going to go up. That's the big trunk. Kind of bends and goes in the middle. And then it kind of branches out. Those are the big trunk area. And then you do branches off that. So you take the small brush, do the bigger part of the tree trunk and tree itself. Same thing on this side over here. If you want to put another one back here, go right ahead. And then you grab the liner brush because it makes a nice, really skinny little branches. You want all those little branches going off the bigger one. You see how I'm doing this? Now you can make it in funky shape, or it's kind of going in a rounded shape. I'm doing this one over here. But remember, they get really skinny on the top as they go out. Makes it more interesting. And I like the gouache because, again, it's opaque. The white watercolor won't be as opaque. It is kind of fading a little bit here because maybe it has too much water. So if you're wondering why yours faded, it needed less water to make it more opaque. And that is the reasoning why. Isn't that cute? Little branches. This brush is great for many things. So we kind of lost our evergreen tree a little bit, but that's all right. Trying to get these little teeny ones out here. At this point, your windows should have dried. You can take a gray tone, ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna, or Paynes gray, and you just put in the little windows. So if I had a little white there, that's fine. You can maybe put some shutters there on the side. You can make more panes in this than I did. Depends on how many you want to do. Liner brush is great for this because it's a very skinny brush. And they don't have to look perfect. You just have to look like they have some panes. See them going through and just whipping through them. Not going to be perfect, but they're going to look cute. And same thing with the doorways. Add little details. So I feel like it needs another tree here. I'm just going to put one here. White tree, smaller one. Grab my gouache. And just kind of fill in. Similar thing here, the tree trunk. And the branches. Maybe this one's just a little stumpier. This one lost some of its white. Just a cute little stumpy one. Like that. Last but not least, I'm going to make a little snow. So I hope you enjoyed this cute little winter scene tutorial. Super fun and easy. Simplify the houses. You can have less houses, add more stuff. Like I said, Patreon members get the extended version where I add the little reindeer. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. I do extra videos, add-on videos from YouTube, exclusive tutorials on Thursdays. You have a Facebook group you can join. We have monthly giveaways. You also get first dibs in watercolor workshops and retreats, which is a great little perk. And coming in 2025, lots of great things. So check it out. It's where you support my channel here on YouTube if you like my free content. And I hope you enjoy. Happy painting!